Welcome back to Peter and Roughie's football show on STV Edinburgh and STV Glasgow. We're delighted you're back with us for the new season. Des McKeown is our guest in the studio, and Roughie is alongside me here looking like a bronzed god. And the only downside to it all, Roughie, I feel as if I've got to mention it to everyone, is you've been bitten by a mosquito.
I'll just show you to the camera. It's actually worse than that. No, I went to the Everglades to see some alligators, and I never had on my mosquito spray, and stupidly I got bitten.
Yeah, strangely enough, if there was a choice for anything, Billy Joel, Shania Twain, or going to the Everglades to see alligators, I know which one I would have chosen. Anyway, delighted that you're here and that hasn't had a detrimental effect on you.
Let's hope not.
Oh, exactly. That's still to be determined. As far as the ins and outs are concerned, this window is just like every year, and especially at the summer months, Des. As a boy growing up, I used to love, you just get up, you'd look at the back pages, you'd watch every programme to see who was coming in and out, big signings here and there, and which players were going to leave the clubs. And it's no different, although this window is absolutely incredible. I think Ross County have moved out an incredible amount of players, and I'm looking at the list here, and this looks as if it's a list of people who have actually sold houses and moved out of the area completely. It's unbelievable, the turnaround in Jim McIntyre's side.
Yeah, well, I think Jim McIntyre, terrific end to last season. He got his chance to assess the squad from early on last season. We went in September time, I think. And he obviously made up his mind that there were certain players that once the contract ended, then they would be no longer at Ross County. And he's gone about his business very well to bring in other players, whether they can all gel quickly. And I think that's always been the problem at Ross County for Derek Adams. Even in the past, there seems to be a full squad almost around a nucleus of 6 or 7 guys that were a kind of constant throughout Derek's time there. But there's other clubs as well. Kilmarnock have brought in a lot of players. Rangers obviously offloaded, I think it was 12, maybe 13. Hibs have offloaded a stack of players as well. So there's been a huge amount of movement in the transfer window, Peter. The slight difference was, when I was growing up, it was 1 or 2 key signings. But now there is such a plethora of signings across every club.
Yeah.
There's some that actually make their way into the squad, and you've actually missed it because there's been so much movement and so much talk about potential signings prior to them actually arriving, that there's so much speculation now. But as I said, I think there's still plenty to go.
Yeah, well, we were talking about it earlier on, Roughie. When you look at the signings, everybody's wondering if the league and the outcome of the league is going to be different, if there'll be a bigger gap, a smaller gap. Hearts, are going to be an unknown quantity in this division. How are they going to handle the step up after running away with the championship? Celtic have made 4 signings: Bailey, Yanko, Boyata, and Shifshi has come in, which and I think they've still got one more that they want to bring in.
Yeah, I think obviously Celtic are going to be the main runners. I think we're all looking for somebody else. We all got Aberdeen there for a wee while, who kept chasing, and it was really good for the league. I can't see any other sides coming out of the pack. Really interested that Paul Hartley at Dundee is still persevering, that there are players in the lower divisions that could play at a higher level.
Yeah.
He's brought another 4 or 5 in. He's obviously been encouraged by the players that he's brought in, and he's done it again. And it just remains to be seen whether these players can step up to a bigger division.
And across the street, I can't wait to see Dundee United, because Jackie has been resolute in his opinion that he's got enough good players there. He's started to tweak and bring in, again, some lower league players, but I think they need to get a good start, Dundee United.
Yeah, I do. I think you're right, Peter. And I think, they've signed predominantly defender. I think Mark Dunn and Cole Donaldson signed up. I think it'll be interesting to see whether they can get Billy Mackay. There's been a lot of talk that they've made a bid for Billy Mackay at Wigan Athletic, now into League One in English leagues. Billy Mackay scored bundles of goals. There's still talk about him possibly getting a chance of going for Scott Allen. I think Dundee United need a couple of big signings to have any chance of pushing for a European slot this year. I think they've lost too much talent, too much quality, and there will be question marks around, if they don't start well, there will be question marks, not around necessarily Jackie McNamara, but there'll be question marks around Stephen Thompson and the policy at the club.
Yeah, and with that in mind, we always look towards what Rangers were doing over a 2-season period in the lower leagues. They were making big signings. They've now got Dave King in there, and they've got a board that have slowly but surely, they've backed Mark Warburton as this long-term plan. I think the fans are waiting to see what investment Dave King and the board are going to really put into the club before they respond with the season tickets. But I'm looking at Mark Warburton's side and the players that he's signed, Roughie, and I'm curious to see, do they need to hit the ground running from day one? Because Hibs have got a settled side. They've tweaked it here and there. I think the Championship's going to be really interesting.
Yeah, I think it's all about the players. A lot of them, the manager, as we spoke about in this show on numerous occasions, when you get a new manager, he tends to go back to where he's come from. If you get an Irish manager, he tends to go back to Ireland where he knows the players of that district, and I think he's done the same. He's went back and he's identified players that he's either had or he saw. For me, I think the main problem was at Rangers. A lot of the players that came into Rangers just couldn't handle it when it wasn't going well, particularly at home. This is the big question. Have these players who probably haven't played in front of 50,000 people every second week, can they come up with a standard that they need to get out of this league?
Yeah, I mean, over the summer when you're looking for things to do, you buy a few books, Roughie, to read when you're on the holidays. I downloaded the DVD of Paul Gascoigne, which was just an absolute joy to see a genius playing at Tottenham, playing at Lazio, and of course he had his days at Rangers. But how times have changed. I know the Rangers fans would love to see that calibre of player maybe sometime in the future, but right now, a couple of boys coming in from Wigan, having medicals. I think Danny Wilson was a really good acquisition.
Yeah, I like Danny Wilson, Peter. I think he's a fantastic player. I think he's matured since he's come back up from Liverpool. It didn't go quite to plan at Liverpool. Came back to Hearts, and he was a terrific player for Hearts. I think he's a quality player, good defender, good user of the ball, and I think he will be very important this season within that back line for Rangers. One I'm interested in at this stage, Andy Halliday, a young man that went down to Middlesbrough from Livingston. For whatever reason, it doesn't seem to have really ignited for him, but he's come back up, point to prove. And I think there's one or two others that, again, Mark Warburton will be looking at the English leagues, and Roughie mentioned, the players from Wigan, Martin Waghorn, big striker, decent, but kind of lost his way a little bit. I think he was an under-21 cap. Went to Wigan, didn't particularly do well, but getting a new lease of life at Ibrox. And the converse of what Roughie's saying is, if they do start the season well, if Rangers do start the season well, the confidence from 50,000 people there, if it's 50,000, if it's 30 or 35, 40, whatever it is, the confidence of doing well might actually just kick them on again. And my point would be there were certain players at Rangers over the last season that weren't good enough to kick on. I think possibly they've got players now that if they start the season well, and I think that's the key to it, if they start the season well, they could very well, move on to another level.
The first thing that I think every Rangers fan will be doing, Roughie, is looking and seeing the team on the park and saying, OK, not so much entertainers, but what way are you going to play?
Yeah, but it's got to be different than last year. It was a total different approach, that it didn't suit a lot of the players on the side, particularly Chris Boyd, as we saw on numerous occasions. It will be interesting, and the fans need to buy into it, and that's why I agree with you that they need to buy into it quick. They need to get everybody behind it instead of all being torn in different directions. They all want to be going in the right direction, and certainly winning games early on would do that.
Yeah,
there's no doubt, Peter, that Paul Murray, Dave King, John Gilligan, all the board want Mark Warburton to hit the ground running, because that's almost rubber stamping their decision making. That's the first major decision the board have had to make, having taken control at Ibrox, and they need to get it right. So they'll be absolutely desperate for Mark Warburton.
The other thing, they need to get it right, Des, because they've been promised lots of money, and lots of money hasn't been spent yet. So, if it doesn't go that way, that's the first thing that's going to get thrown out there.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be keeping a close eye on events at Ibrox. And, of course, this week we're hoping that, maybe Inverness, maybe a miracle can happen. Certainly Aberdeen are in a good position in on the European stage in the Europa League. And, of course, Celtic, we expect to finish the job against Stjarnan. If they can get good results, then we certainly will be more than happy to see them in European football in the group stages. But for the first show, if you over the summer months are thinking about getting back to Scottish football, get in there, get yourself a season ticket, go and support the Scottish game. And support obviously Peter and Roughie's football show. Monday to Friday we're on STV Edinburgh and STV Glasgow. There'll be less off Roughie on the programme because obviously the mosquito bite will eventually go down. But thanks to Des McKeown, thanks to Roughie and for myself, good night.